This is a supplemental tutorial for part 4 of the book, which is concerning AutoCAD and SketchUp. In this particular case, we're going to go from SketchUp to AutoCAD. I get the question a lot during seminars, when is it appropriate or when do I use exporting SketchUp back into AutoCAD? In this case, we're going to go from SketchUp to AutoCAD, add some more information to the AutoCAD file, and then re-import that into the SketchUp model. Specifically, we're going to use the slopes and grades tutorial model. That tutorial is found in chapter 13, and it's on page 213 of the book. And the model itself, the slopes and grades model, can be found on 3D Warehouse. So you can see this is the completed tutorial model from the slopes and grades chapter, in which I've added in that tutorial grades between the trail and the wall. Now, in the book itself, I show an image, the final image of this particular tutorial model, populated with trees and people and benches and a couple of other amenities. And the simplest way to do that in SketchUp is to actually open the component browser. I'm going to select the 2D tree, place it in the model. I'm going to copy it and paste it around. Now, the problem with this method is that it's not accurate. These are not being laid in any kind of precision. The other problem with it is that it doesn't actually easily accommodate large quantities of either vegetation or people or any other objects that you might be using for a model, and particularly if they're 3D vegetation. Laying these things out in AutoCAD is far faster because AutoCAD is a 2D layout program. So in this particular case, what we're going to do, I'm going to actually delete everything I just put in here. And I'm going to show you the method of going from SketchUp to AutoCAD and back to SketchUp with everything laid out into it. So first and foremost, I'm going to go to my camera menu, and I'm going to select parallel projection. You can see that SketchUp took away the perspective, and this is more of an axonometric. And next, under View Toolbars, even though I already have it active, you can see I'm going to select Views. These are predetermined views, so I'm going to now select from that View menu, Top, which is really top-down. Select it. And SketchUp altered the model view to show a true plan drawing of the model. And this is exactly what we want to export into AutoCAD. Since we're not exporting a 3D model, we're actually going to export just 2D line work into AutoCAD. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to select Export, and I'm going to select 2D Graphic. Notice again, 2D Graphic. I'm going to select from Export Type, AutoCAD DWG Export. And just to show you at the right, there's options. You can select the release version you want. I'm selecting 2004. Most people might be using 2009 or 10 or AutoCAD 2006. And full scale. And full scale is selected because it's actually a true scale drawing, and that only happens when the camera is set to parallel projection and you're using one of the selected views from the view menu. I'm going to hit OK. I'm just going to save over my export SU to AutoCAD. I'm going to hit Export. I'm going to replace it. And you can see that SketchUp performed an audit of the file into AutoCAD and it said it was OK. Now, because I'm not exporting a true 3D model, just a 2D snapshot of the line work in AutoCAD, I have found that this works for a variety of large drawings. So you could do this for very large areas or very detailed models because it's only taking a snapshot of the line work. And next, I'm going to switch to AutoCAD, and I already have the file open. So you can see what this did. This is a true plan snapshot of the file. And again, just to emphasize, it's not a 3D model in AutoCAD. You can see I'm going to pan around in 3D in CAD, and it's just a 2D version. So we're going to use this file to populate it. Now, in order to populate this file, we need to use AutoCAD blocks. And that's explained in chapter 19, how you can effectively go from AutoCAD blocks to 3D SketchUp components. If you want to know how to create AutoCAD blocks effectively and correctly for both AutoCAD and for use in SketchUp, that's reviewed in Chapter 17, Organizing AutoCAD. But you can see here that I have several blocks. This is a tree block, another tree block, a bench, pedestrian light, and some people. So I'm just going to simply start copying and pasting these blocks into the areas that I want them in the model. Take the second tree block, and next I'm going to copy a couple of benches. You can see that AutoCAD gives me the precision that I want. Might rotate this. Place it a little further in. And I'll put some pedestrian lights in as well. And last, some people. And then my layout is more or less complete. I'm actually going to delete these extra blocks. And you can see that I now have my layout of vegetation, some people, some benches, and pedestrian lights. And all I'm simply going to do is actually just save the file. I'm going to do Control S, and it's ready to be re-imported into SketchUp. So we're back into the SketchUp model, the tutorial slopes and grades model, and I've turned the perspective back on. And I'm going to import my AutoCAD file that I altered, the slopes and grades, into the model. You could see that I'm doing import, file import. I've selected AutoCAD file type. I'm going to hit open, and it brought it in, and you can see that it didn't bring it in aligned with the model. And the other thing, I'm going to select it, and you can see that the imported AutoCAD file, SketchUp automatically adjusted and created into a component. I'm actually just going to use these edges and align it to my model. It should snap in place right there. But I want this to be hovering on top of my model, not in it. So I'm going to select it and move it all the way up above the model. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to explode it. And what it did is you can see that while it is exploded, it still retains these blocks, which are now actually components. I'm going to delete all the line work, just double clicking on the line work that was imported from CAD, and all that's remaining is blocks. Now here's where an interesting Ruby script comes in, and you can get this Ruby script from smuster.com, and it's called the drop Ruby. I'm going to select all this line work. I'm going to right click over it, and I'm going to select drop at intersection, and it dropped it down to the first point that it meets on the slopes and geometry. And again, that Ruby script is available at smuster.com, www.smuster.com. And the next thing I'm going to do is going to replace these blocks from AutoCAD with SketchUp components. To review how to convert AutoCAD blocks into SketchUp 3D components in SketchUp, that is in Chapter 19 of the book, which goes into a great amount of detail about what to do with AutoCAD blocks imported into SketchUp, and how you can quickly convert them to create a scene like this. So you can see that there's a bench, and there's people, and there's trees sitting within the slopes. And you have a completed scene.